guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is in collaboration with Deck of Scarlet. So it's a new subscription service. This is the edition that I'm featuring, and the palette is super sleek. You get a deck of products. So you get 3 shadows, 2 cheek colors, and 2 lip products. The palette is super thin, which is really convenient for travel. These are some swatches. So you get the lip colors, Coral Kisses and Almond, a really nice orangey color, and then a brownie kind of chocolate. You get Fudge, Sunshine, and Mermaid as eyeshadows, and then Halo, which is a highlight, and Sandstorm, which is a contour color. Super duper pigmented. The palette is $29.95 and it's every other month. And the coolest thing about this is that they're actually in collaboration with YouTubers, with bloggers, which I think is really awesome. So this one is in collaboration with Evon. I actually met her in Miami. Super sweet, gorgeous, and all of these palettes are made in the USA. They're paraben-free, cruelty-free, and you can choose to skip a month. So it is an every other month subscription, but you're not obligated, so you can skip. You also get 2 pencils, a lip pencil and an eye pencil. These are the ones that came in this palette, and they're so pretty. So let's go ahead and get started with the tutorial. So I already did my eyebrows off camera. I'm just priming my eyes for the eyeshadow, and I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Enigma, and I'm just blending that out with a Sigma Round Kabuki, and I'm just going to be setting that with a cream shadow. You can also just use a translucent powder, and I'm just going to go in with a transition shade before actually using the palette. This is just going to help me blend out a little bit more. I'm just using a nice warm nude color. You can also use your bronzer or your contour. You can use the contour color in the palette, which is a little bit more of a cool tone, but I am going to warm everything up with the color Sunshine, which is a really pretty orange shade. Now it does have a little bit of shimmer, but when you put it into the crease, you don't see that. So to me, I'm just treating it as if it were a matte shadow, and I'm just using that to kind of blend that into my crease. And then I'm going to deepen things up with the shade Fudge. So I'm using a Sigma E36, and I'm just applying that to my crease very precisely. A little trick that I do is I like to tilt my head left, right, and also to the back, and I like to lift my eyebrows really to define that crease. If you have a little bit of a hood, or your brows just kind of protrude a little more, or they're sagging, you can kind of just lift your eye with your finger just to kind of really get that crease going. So I'm just blending, I'm blending away, and I'm going back in with the Sunshine color, back in with Fudge, and I'm just layering that because I feel like I get the best effect when I layer. Makeup and eyeshadow just takes a lot of patience. So now I'm just going to be using a little bit of some Tarte concealer to kind of blank out my lid, and I'm using a Sigma. It's supposed to be a mascara brush. It's kind of like a little mini fan. I saw someone on Instagram doing this, but because my lids are so dry and wrinkly, it wasn't as smooth as I had hoped, but it's okay. You can use any brush. You can use a concealer brush, but I'm just applying this first, and then I'm going to be applying shadow on top. It's going to create kind of like a sticky base, and it's just going to blank out where I want to put that shadow. So I'm just using a little bit more of a smaller detail brush. This one's from Morphe, and I find that small lip brushes work really well. So I'm going in with the shade Mermaid, and I'm using a Tarte brush to really pack on the color. So at first I was using this brush, but I felt like it was just a little bit too big. So I'm using this to kind of just get the majority of the lid, and then I'm going to use this brush from MAC to really get into the crevices and the corners, and I'm just using that same shade, using packing motions but also wiping motions. If you do both, you'll get the most color payoff. So first I pack, and then I go side to side. So make sure you really get that inner corner, especially where that fold is. So that's why I like raising and lifting my eyebrows to really get that in there, the product in there, and then back in with Fudge to deepen everything. The last palette that came out with Deck of Scarlet was with Sandra Deluxe, and I was dying to buy it, but it had already like sold out. It did so well, and I'm so happy for everyone who has a palette because they've all been really pretty, like Kelly, then Sandra, and now Evon. Like, I'm just so proud of all of them for creating these palettes. So I just applied a little bit of Fix Plus to Mermaid, and then applied that to my lid just to give it a little bit more of a foiled effect. And now I'm just doing my wing liner, and this one is from NYC, which is being discontinued in the US, which I'm so sad, but if you can find these, get your hand on them. I love this eyeliner so much. It's like $3, and I'm just so used to it now. I can kind of just create my wing in a couple of minutes with it, but yeah, I can't find it anywhere. They have it online, but like super overpriced. Now I'm just using a little bit of a black shadow, and I'm using a MAC 221 brush to kind of connect my wing liner to my crease. I kind of wanted it to smoke out a little bit. Normally I don't really use black shadow, but I really have been enjoying a little bit of black in the crease. And then I'm just using a Surratt brush to blend out a little bit more. I love this brush because it gets right in the crease. And then, like I said, girls and boys, it's just blending, blending, and blending. I like to kind of just layer. And sometimes when you blend, you kind of remove intensity. So that's why I kind of just redo all of the steps to get that really pretty effect. Applied a little bit of mascara. Now I'm just using these Slayla lashes from Flutter. These are really inexpensive. They're like $10 and they're so pretty and dramatic, but they're thin, which I really like because they don't feel heavy on the eyes. So I'm just applying those with some Milante glue, which is really nice because it's latex free. And then I'm back in with that black, again, to really layer and get that pretty effect. I'm applying the unicorn tears. I had an Instagram makeup moment right there by applying it like that. But that one's from Farsali. It's a primer. And then a little bit of Benefit Porefessional. I'm still trying out the Farsali. I'm kind of gathering my thoughts. And a little bit of the MAC Essential Oils on my beauty blender. And I know that's a lot of face products. And then the Elcie Cosmetics is what I'm using for foundation. I'm using their Micro Silk. And I'm in the shade Sand. So I'm just applying that, dabbing the beauty blender, which is damp, onto my face. I haven't used this foundation in a while. I missed it, so I figured why not. So the Farsali is just like a primer, but it's an oil-based primer, which is really cool. I don't know how I feel about it for really dry skin, but I'm still kind of testing it out. When I tried it this day, my face did look really smooth, so I kind of like it. So now I'm just concealing. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm using the shade Light Neutral. I usually use light medium, but I actually ordered light sand and it should be coming in soon in the mail. And I'm really excited for the shade light sand because it's more of a light yellow shade, because sometimes light medium can be a little bit too pinky on me. So I'm excited for light sand, but this one is light neutral. I'm applying that to my under eye, and then I'm just baking with the DermaBlend translucent powder, and I'm applying a heavy amount underneath my eyes to prevent any creasing. This day I was extra dry. It's like 10 degrees here in New York. It's crazy. It's so dry. Like, I feel like SpongeBob in those episodes where he's just super dry. That's me right now. And since I am dry, I'm using this Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Compact because it isn't drying on my face. It just kind of sets everything without caking anything up. And I'm using a Surratt brush to apply that and also to wisp away the bake and just kind of make sure there's no remaining powder. A little bit of charged water on my face. At first, I used this orange liner, but I'm actually going to be applying a black liner later on. Then I'm going to go in with Sunshine, and I'm just going to go to town underneath my eyes for a pop of orange underneath. You guys want me to play with more colors, so here you go. We got orange, and that's what I really like about this palette, is that it really brought me out of my comfort zone. It's still a neutral look, and I still think it's super wearable. Like, I wore a peach cardigan, and it totally went. So I really like that this palette will really just get your creative juices flowing, and you can create so many different looks with it. I bronzed up, and now I'm contouring with the Sandstorm Contour color from the palette, and I'm using a Zoeva Luxe Contour brush. And I'm going to be using the Peaches blush, and I'm just applying that to the cheeks with a Surratt brush. I'm using that same brush. And then for highlighting, I'm using Halo from the palette. Now, usually I'm really weary and like I don't like to use a lot of highlights from like palettes, but this one is gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's just like the perfect medium. And then I'm applying a little bit of black shadow with an angled brush to the corners of my eyes. I felt like I needed a little bit of intensity, so I'm actually going to be applying some black liner to the waterline because I felt like the orange just wasn't doing it for me. I wanted my eyes to stand out a little bit more, but I still want the orange to be underneath, if that makes sense. I just thought this kind of made it a little bit more wearable. And for lips, I'm using this Makeup Forever liquid lipstick, and then I'm applying the orange shade Sunshine from the palette right on top to give me more of like a peachy tone, and it's really nice. It wasn't sticky, very pigmented, and just really just nice. It's just like a good, again, I'm also really weary about like lip products and palettes, but that one was really nice. I'm just setting my brows with the Benefit Give Me Brow, and I applied a little bit of StripDown lip liner, a little bit of some eye pencil, and then Nylon from MAC in the inner corners. Now the eye pencil was from ANastasia, and I used Ebony just to kind of darken things up. And then I applied some gloss. This one is the It's Like Honey from MAC Mariah collection. I'm just going to bronze up a little bit more with some Give Me Sun from MAC. You guys know I cannot stay away from Give Me Sun. Like, that is holy grail. And then I'm just going to contour my nose with Dark Golden from MAC, which is also an MSF, but it's a lot lighter and a lot more Oh, sorry, like a popcorn is stuck in my mouth. A lot more neutral. I'm using the Kat Von D palette, the banana shade. I can't with myself with the popcorn. Just to brighten up a little bit more of that highlight from the palette, and then I'm just blending everything out. Basically, the focus was the eyes, but I wanted to show you guys the rest of the face as well. And I'm just repeating the steps until desired effect. And that's pretty much the entire look. I hope you guys recreate this look and try it out. If you do, don't forget to tag me. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.